brothers and sisters in the Dharma, it is really quite regrettable that when I talked 2 days ago, I found that a lot of people say, blow, blow. Actually, it's very shallow when I talk. What I was talking was to drive in one point, that what you watch breaks up into points. That's why I say, 过程. It breaks up into points. And when it breaks up into points, you see it's an arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. Very wonderful. So if we cannot understand these things, actually I'm puzzled what to talk. It is the most shallow thing that you must understand. That Buddha said, Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, Bo Xiong, impermanent, Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, Anatta, no self. So when you say that is to blow, I cannot proceed further again. Because why? You are still not ready for meditation in the first place. If you understand, there are certain things that you must understand when you are learning Buddhism. First thing I want you to, tonight I will tell you, somebody told me to talk on the 5 khandhas. I don't know who was it who gave me this talk on the 5 khandhas. Ngo-un, 5 khandhas. Who was it? I do not know. Gave me a list to talk on the 5 khandhas or the 5 aggregates, or you can say body, feeling, thoughts, perception, consciousness. Is it come from these people or from outside people asking me to talk on all these things? Anybody knows who gave me the syllabus to talk? Chichi. Five aggregates, yeah. So, if it's like that, I will just explain to you. You know that this thing called I, water, it is a strange thing. There is no I, no mine, no he, no she. And how can you know it? Only in meditation you see it. And when you want to know it, see it, understand it, you must practice very hard until you get your concentrated mind, or called samadhi. And this samadhi is of 3 types, I told you. Upachara samadhi, Appanna samadhi, Kanika samadhi. Now I will talk to you in English. Upachara samadhi is called excess concentration. You meditate. When you come to excess concentration, the 5 hindrances that blocked you, remember last time I said 5 hindrances that blocked you, disappear. Now you are all not in concentration, you'll find that all these hindrances are disturbing you. Until you meditate and come to a point when you are very concentrated, the hindrances disappear. And they disappear temporarily. And once the mind is free of this restlessness, your mind is concentrated, then you reach Upachara Samadhi. And Upachara Samadhi with these 5 hindrances disappearing. And what are the 5? Sense object, hatred, sloth and torpor, restlessness and doubts. You all try in the house. What happened was when you are in the hostel, what happened? You want to go out. And then you say, what happened? You open your almara, you see the clothes there. I'm going to attend Miss so-and-so's marriage. I think this dress is good. You take and dress. Put back, take back, put back. Those are doubts. And then you're trying to match, appear to be very beautiful. So that is great sense object. And then cutting corners. This is not beautiful. This is not nice. Ugly. No good. Today my hairdo different. Audrey Hepburn type or anything. This one not fitting. So you try this, you try that. Hate is there. And then you have so many things. My boyfriend may be coming, so I must put on a little extra things. Maybe this thing, that thing. All these things are restless mind coming. So these 5 things always hinder you. Even when you are preparing for your exam, they hinder you. Sometimes you read an object, and then you close your eyes, try to remember, but your mind go astray. And this astray is, of course, if I want to explain Abhidhamma, also another tough thing, I think, Kokablu. So I do not go too advanced. Very interesting, no? You will see how an intelligent person works the mind and how the unintelligent person works the mind. I will tell you, some people when they read a paragraph and then they bite the pencil. Like that, like that, like that, like that. Absorb in it. But there are people, when they read like that, and then they can't have the idea. They are called dull-witted. And you can see this in the charts. Of course, I cannot go this. In fact, today I want to talk on this a bit of Abhidhamma. But I found that day before yesterday's talk was a bit blow, so I dare not approach further. But if we are prepared, one day we will discuss. Very interesting. That's why the Buddha said, all signs. So today, when you have your hindrances subsided, then you are in Samadhi. And in the Samadhi, I will tell you how it will be. You only see this rising and this falling. There is no I, no you, no he, no she. So calm, so serene. And then you find that sometimes your body becomes light. Buoyancy has come in. And some people say, when I meditate, I feel as if I can rise up 2 inches. But you put a hand, it is touching the ground. So all these things are called, you will find them very common in these things. But I cannot proceed on all these things. But it is very interesting when you have this Upachara Samadhi, you will see just the concentrated object. And the concentrated object, what I was telling you is to watch the stomach. As you breathe in, the stomach rises. As you breathe out, the stomach goes down. And you must try to get this very correctly. If it is not there, what must you do? Place your hand on the stomach and watch. Still you cannot do. Use a deck chair. You know a deck chair? Lie down. And then put your hand on the stomach. And as you lie down, you see rising, falling, very clear. When you get these things so clear, sharp, you just watch rising, falling. You are getting it. But I'm going to tell you, before I proceed, I'm going to tell you, there are certain things that when you are practicing meditation, you will find that the first thing you learn is that the mind wanders about. You try. You're rising, falling. The most you can do is 3 times. Rising, falling, rising, falling, top, 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 pop, 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 pop. I think motorcycle, and then another thought come, maybe my boyfriend coming. Then how can he come at this time? Normally he comes about 9 o'clock. Why today he comes so early? Maybe he wants to see me. Then you are thinking, and one thought leads on to another. So this is called being interrupted. The first thing you learn, the mind always wander. Now that when you know the mind is always wandering, I'm going to tell you something, because formerly I was working in the Tanjung Rambutan Hospital. Do you know what is the Tanjung Rambutan Hospital is? Where all the psycho cases are. One day I went to a ward, and everybody looked at me and start laughing. Ha ha ha, that fellow, ha ha ha, this fellow, ha ha. Then I was so worried. I said, what's wrong? Why? When they look at me, and they are laughing at me. And the person who was in the ward told them, because these people think you are mad. So you find that the first thing is that when you mix with the mad people think you are mad. And then, why they say I'm mad? You do not know how to enjoy. They are laughing, they are enjoying, and you so serious. So they say we are mad. So actually we are mad. And this, you are mad, is not spoken by me, it's spoken by the Buddha. And the Buddha said, everyone is mad. To a greater or a lesser extent, according to three things: greed, hatred, delusion. I'll give you some similes. One day there was a shipwreck. There was a young man marooned in an island. And in that island there's nobody except he himself. So he stayed there a long time, maybe 2 years. He has never seen a woman. And being a young man, he pines to see a woman. And one day another shipwreck, an old lady comes. Dominated by greed or lust, this young man will say, hello darling, wonderful to see you. So glad to see you. But that fellow can be his mother. Why? Dominated by greed, he looked at the woman as a very beautiful woman. So dominated by greed, you are mad. When you are dominated by greed, sometimes people tell you certain things. Say, supposing there's a girl and this man has already got one wife, and what happened was, he went to the market and he saw the first wife's children. Probably the children are talking something. And because the children recognize that there is the second wife, the eye cast like mata juring, And then the woman will say, you are your first wife's daughter juring at me. And the husband loves the younger wife, will go home and slap the children. So these are called dominated by anger, dominated by greed, dominated by anger, dominated by delusion. Every time when you have got these three things, your mind is biased. Can you understand or not? That is very wonderful. You find that when a man is in love with one particular girl, and you say, darling, is it nice? Yes. Isn't it very pure white? Actually, it's colored. And he said, isn't it very pure white? Yes, darling. What you say is correct. Like white. White. So your mind is biased. So these sort of things you must try to know that every time when you are practicing meditation, You must watch the mind. And why I say you're mad? Now I will talk to you how a madman behaves. Once you're mad, the father will call. Let's say the patient is Akau. The father will call, Akau, come and take your dinner. And being very obedient but mental, he will come. He will come, he will walk. Sit down, and he will eat 1 mouthful, 2 mouthful, 3 mouthful. Another condition has appeared in his mind, and he upsets the food. Why you upset the food? He does not know. And after upsetting the food, he gets up. After getting up, the father and mother shouted him, take your food. He is gone astray already. In other words, his thoughts have no sequence. When you have no sequence, you are thinking of eating food because you are hungry. After eating a few food, you are upset. When your father calls, this time you don't listen. Other things. You probably go and meddle with other things. So this is called a restless mind. And actually when your mind is like that, can you meditate? Cannot meditate. And when you cannot meditate, because your mind is restless. And we who are not mad, also like this madman. Why? I will tell you. You watch lah, rising, falling, then your mind wanders. You try, wandering terrible. The first thing is the restless mind, gives you a lot of problem. And you just, as I say, watch the rising and the falling as long as you can. How can you watch? You 3 times only you already start wandering already. Then you say, bring the thing back. So, back again. Rising, falling. This time somebody put the chilaka. Bangsai kick. Actually the smell didn't come. And then said, letting out some gas. So you see the mind starts wandering. And you'll find that all the hindrances that interfere with you come within this 6th sense door. The eye that see. When you are beginner, then you are meditating in the hall. Then the door is closed. Then you are meditating with a few. Then sometimes you hear the door open. The intention to open your eyes and see who comes in. The moment when you see who comes in, you see a very sexy girl coming in. Wow! Where is your meditation? Already wow! That means you are carried away by greed. Or is an old lady. Chi, lau kebo. Finish. Lau kebo means old grandmother. You are snubbing. Greed, hatred. And something comes in. Don't know what is that. Nice or not nice? I do not know. Confusion. Deluded. So greed, hatred, delusion comes on. And they come in through the 6th sense door. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, touch. And sometimes the mind itself comes. So you find these sort of things. First thing you learn is that you are like a madman. Why? You cannot concentrate. So the first lesson you have to learn is to concentrate. Rising, falling, so well. But how well can you do? I'm going to tell you, not so well. How? You see watching the rising. Shoot! The end nothing, beginning nothing. You see a portion only. When he is coming down, shoot! In the center you see. When he is coming down, the first part of the coming down you do not see. The end part you do not see. Not clear, vague. And you keep on meditating. Then you will improve. Then you will see the beginning and the middle. And then towards the end, you want to see the end, you cannot because the object is coming down. So you concentrate on the coming down. So in the coming down, you see the first part and the second part. The third part you do not see. But if you try harder, you see from the beginning, middle and the end, you see clearly. So you must concentrate until you are so perfect in your concentration. Which means to say, no stray thoughts. If you can keep stray thoughts away, you will penetrate. A lot of people do not know because they do not penetrate. And when they do not penetrate, their meditation is a low-grade meditation. Low-grade means no quality, quantity. You say, I can sit 3 hours. What is 3 hours? A lot of thinking. So this is the first thing you learn. Concentrate very well. And when you concentrate very well, you will find a lot of wonderful things to see. And I always tell my friend, it is like watching the greatest show on earth. So don't be afraid that it will be blow. No blow. You try hard. But you have to try very hard. And once you get this concentration, you'll find that there is nobody except two things. There is the motion, there is the mind knowing that it is going up. There is the mind knowing that it is coming down. And the coming down is one thing, the mind knowing it is another thing. Because the concentration is so good, you are in perfect samadhi or concentrated mind. Then you will see clearly for yourself that there is no I. There's no you. There's only arising. There's only the mind knowing it is arising. Very wonderful you'll find. First time when I struck this, very strange, I found that, only this motion and only this mind knowing. And then, because I was meditating, I didn't go into this vipassana. And the first thing that struck me, only these two things. There's no I, no you, no he, no she. Then another thought comes. And the thought comes, if there's no I, no you, no he, no she, when I go home and I'm going to sleep with my wife, the next door I'm like an idol, and there's another idol, there's an image and an image. You start thinking and the confusion comes. So you must not have confusion. You keep on watching, then you go. You penetrate more and more. And the second thing you will see, each has come. Then that time there's no I. There's only, sometimes people report, they say, only the patch that is itchy is available. And what do? Desire to scratch comes. Then he saw the word desire. Desire is a thought. Desire to scratch. Desire to scratch. Desire to scratch. After desire to scratch, then the body lifts up the hand. Then the body moves in. Then the body touch. Then the sensation of each, very fast it goes off. Formerly when you don't concentrate, like that. When you concentrate, you have only just to touch. Actually, 3/4 of the each gone. Another no more. So wonderful, so sharp. Then you want to put down. Putting down. The thought comes first. And then action comes. And that's where you get your second jhana. Very wonderful. Then he will start comparing. If I do not meditate, I find that matter is fast. How? Each comes, or let's say mosquito bite. Mosquito bite, tuck. Ayah! Today I keep my precept while my hand went up automatically. That shows action is first. Action goes, then mind knows. Now he said, oh, it's different. The mind knows that there's itch, and the mind says scratch, then scratch. Now supposing I'm dead, I'm sleeping on the floor dead. So you see lah, Suwano, mosquitoes on your forehead, scratch lah, scratch lah. Can I scratch? It's dead already, no more life. So no more life, no more consciousness, how can you scratch? So all these things are very wonderful things. When you penetrate there, you find very interesting, more interesting than science. So I'm just telling you these little things. But today they told me to touch on this, the 5 khandas. See what? 5 khandas, the 4 elements. Now before I start 4 elements, I'm going to tell you, there are 2 types of truth. First type of truth. Can you all tell me what is this thing? Please tell me, what is it? What do you see? What are you seeing now? Finger. Am I right? Finger. You're all bluffing me. There's no finger. All of you are telling lies. How? I will show you. Say I'm a magician. I take out this nail. Is this what you call finger? You say, no lah, that one nail lah. Okay, I put it. I take out the skin. Is this what you call finger? No lah, skin lah. Okay. I take out the flesh. Is this called finger? No lah, this is a lump of meat lah. Okay. I take out this bone, this bone, this bone. Is this what you call finger? No lah, those are bones lah. Where's the finger? No finger. So you said that you see a finger. It's wrong. Now I'm going to tell you this thing. There are 2 types of truth. One type of truth is called Paramata Satya. Absolute truth. Absolute truth is what? Matter. Matter. And then another one is what? Finger. Now you all came by what? From where you came from KL side, isn't it? By what do you all come? One by one. How do you come? Bus. What is a bus? Tell me. There's no bus. Now I will take out the bus. If I take out the bonnet, is this called bus? No, the bonnet. I take out the roof. Is this called bus? No, the roof. I take out the wheel. Is this? You take out the whole thing. So, the Buddha saw when parts are assembled, name appears, and it is a concept. In reality, the bus is called matter. And every matter in this world is made up of the 4 great elements. And the 4 great elements we can Chinese call Hong Hui Chui Tho, or we call Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. These 4 things. Patavi is earth element. You cannot see earth. What you see earth is a concept. Earth element is what? The constituents of earth. And it has the quality of hardness and softness. Patavi. Earth element. What you see is this finger. What is in reality is matter. And matter has no size, no shape. But you can experiment that. Now we go to science. What is this? Electrons, protons, neutrons, and some other norms and quarks. I do not know. I'm not a scientist. Exactly what the Buddha said. Instead of saying all these things, scientific terms, he just said, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. Patavi is earth element. It has the element of hardness and softness. You cannot see them. You can experience them. That is called Patavi, earth element. And then wind element. It has the elements of motion and vibration. When you see, you are living in a glass room, and then you look outside, you see papers flying about. But you are in the glass room, you do not see, but you seem to know, hey, a strong wind is blowing. Isn't it? You are staying in a closed chamber, but you seem to know that it's a strong wind by seeing the paper flying about. So motion is the wind element. And when the motion is getting less and less, it gives you vibration. Two things already. Another thing is water element. Water element has the two ideas. It coheres and it flows. Now I will give you a little example. A packet of corn flour. You put a little water, what will happen? It will cluster itself into a lump. It coheres, coagulate. And when you put more water, it starts to flow. So that even this thing has got water. All the atoms are clustered together. If there is no water, you don't get all this shape. And the last thing is fire. Fire gives you what? Elements of hot and cold. So when you see hot and cold, fire element is there. So when you practice, you just watch the stomach rising, falling, rising, falling. What are you watching? You must really watch not the abdomen, watch the motion itself. And when you watch the motion, you'll find that it is always very fast, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. And then that is the wind element. But sometimes the rising, falling is very slow. Then you see rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising. Wind element is getting less. So you are learning. So, fire element. When you are sitting down, you watch rising, falling, then you see hot, very hot, very hot. At the moment when you see very hot, are you feeling the rising and falling? You don't. At that moment you only see hot. Then you say fire element, fire element. Or when you get up in the morning, very cold, fire element, fire element, fire element. And then what happened is, Patavi you know, Patavi earth element, water element, fire element, and then Patavi Apo, water you know, fire you know, wind element, you know already. So by meditating, watching the rising and falling, you are watching, when it is up and down, you are watching the wind element. And when it is fast, wind element is very great. When it is slow, wind element is getting less. And you cannot see this wind element, you just feel them. Then when you are going, after that you find that suddenly, when your respiration is getting concentrated, your samadhi is improving, you will find that it is getting hot. What is hotness? Earth element. And then you see, it's concentrated, hot, until it's so hot that it's, you cannot breathe. And then it let go, relaxing. Wind element. Hotness, relaxing, flowing on. You are seeing all the elements. They arise, they disappear, they arise, they disappear. That's where you get concentrated mind on elements. Elements are the wind element, earth element, water element, and the fire element. You just watch these four things. Very interesting. And they keep on changing. When you keep on changing, you are seeing things so clearly, so well. And the more you concentrate, the more things will come. Mind will come. Mind will come. Other things will come. Other things like, you see, any sound you hear, hearing, and then smelling, or pain, or numb, all this will come. And this part is called, not the four elements, the element of mind. Actually, when you have mind, there are four things in mind. And these four things are, you have feelings, you have perception, you have mental properties, and you have consciousness. These four things are in mind. The body has got these four things. There's earth, water, fire, wind. Only 8 things to watch. But you cannot see all the 8 things together, one at a time. It's a pity that you are using this blackboard. Can I use this blackboard and show you all? Can I rub it off and show you something? This should be more interesting. Is it blow or not? People say yes, that night was a bit blow. Blow means very confusing. But today I'm going to show to you how you practice. I rub. Have you got the pen? The whiteboard pen. Very interesting if you know how to meditate. And I always tell my friend, watching the greatest show on earth. Okay, little, I'll just... Can I go there? A bit tilted that side. Like that, enough. What is a being? What is a being? Made up of 2 things. Matter. Mind. These 2 things only. Actually, matter and mind. Some people's matter very fine, sweet, bad, good. Some people are devils, ugly, dirty, filthy. Of course, these are all under another section that comes under karma. Very interesting if you know all these things. Now matter is made up of 4 things. And that one thing is called the earth element, or Patavi. I don't want to trouble you too much with these Pali terms. Earth, water, fire, wind. When you have earth, how do you know it's earth? Hard and soft. Soft. How do you know it's water? It coheses. And it flows. And how do you know it's fire? Hot. Cold. How do you know it's wind? Motion. Vibration. So you watch your rising, falling. When you get the samadhi, you only see rising, falling. What are you watching? Rising, falling. What is rising, falling? Motion. You are right. So rising, falling. And then you see rising, falling, and then it's getting slowed down because you are getting samadhi stronger and stronger. Rising, falling, tuk tak, until it's so concentrated. Then you see contraction, relaxing. So concentrated, interesting, very interesting, you try. Of course, I'm exaggerating too much. Very interesting. So you see, then after that, so hard. Rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling, and then it's so strong that it becomes no motion, stiff, and then it becomes hard. What is hardness? Wind element, the earth element. So yes, now wind element, now earth element. And then also it's up, down, hot lah. Fire element. And then you see, keep on rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. Another thing you see, stiffness. What is stiffness? Also wind element. Stiffness, if you watch stiffness, it has vibration. So stiff, so firm. So stiffness also is wind element. Now I'm going to give you some question and answers now. You all better watch carefully. Now you have to answer my questions. When you put your hand into the water tank and move your hands, what do you observe? Tell me one by one. You first. What do you observe? When you put your hand into the water tank and make like that, what do you observe? Come, we learn something. That's how we learn. What is it? I'll give you a hint. When you put your hand into the water, what do you feel? Cold, isn't it? What is cold? Fire element. Cold. Correct or not? You cannot say put in water. Cold. Cannot. Fire element is there. Correct or not? Then you move your hand. What more? Next. Flows. Flows is when you say actually motion. Don't say flow. So what is it? Motion. Wind element. And then what more? Come on, tell me. Anything? Bubble. Bubble is a concept. What is it? How do you say hot? How can you say water hot? Tell me. When you move about, you have some sort of a sensation as you push, so that is softness, or what you call soft. Hard and soft. Soft is the wind, earth element. So when you put your hand into the water tank, you see three things: earth element, fire element, wind element. Where is water element? You learn. This is how you learn. Where is water element? Although water element is